On this edition of the Buckeye Cast, we discuss new NCAA rules that came down this summer. Jeff and Shawn also give you their top 5 each of offensive and defensive players. We get into some Twitter questions. We get 3 from one of our favorite listeners. And there's a little treat for everyone at the very end of the show. Here we go. Buckeye Cast.
They fight for their families. They fight for each other. They fight for this great university.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
When I needed you the most, you gave us your very best.
These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State.
Handle your business, man. Everything you got. 4 to 6 A to B, 9 strong.
Buckeye Cast.
Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Buckeye Cast.
Buckeye Cast.
Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
A great Buckeye. 1, 2, 3, go die!
What is up, Buckeye Nation? We are back, as always. Back and better than ever, right? I got Jeff and Shawn with me. Do you guys like that new intro? We just rolled out a new intro. Jeff and Shawn, you might want to check that out.
I will definitely check it.
Yeah.
I liked last year's. It's better, huh?
Yeah, this one's a little update and add in a few little tricks and trinkets.
You know, I'm old school.
And whatnot.
I'll keep an open mind, but
All right.
that's it.
How white of you. So, as always, Buckeye fans, you know how to find us. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Just find us at the Buckeye Cast. And we are now on Spotify. So, a lot of people like to listen to music on Spotify, but you can also listen to podcasts. Just go to the podcast section and search for the Buckeye Cast. We are there, live and in the flesh. And also, nobody has taken me up on this offer yet, but we have a phone number. You can call, leave a voicemail, or talk to me direct if I decide to answer, and your call will be on the air. We will put it in our show no matter how stupid it might be. And you can even text. You can text us a question if you have questions. 614-414-2274. So anyways, let's jump into this show. This is one of those potpourri type of shows, a little grab bag, if you will. A little bit of everything. Not a lot to talk about because there's no fucking games being played. So we're going to jump into these new NCAA rules that just came down over the summer. The kickoff rule change, and there's a couple of timing changes that are speeding the game up a little bit. And then there's the 4-game redshirt limit and the unblocked transfer rule. So we're going to touch on those. And Jeff and Shawn are going to give you their 5 most important players on offense and defense for the Buckeyes. And then we have Twitter questions. We actually have real Twitter questions.
Woo-hoo!
It's been a long time. So
What's
we'll,
Twitter?
yeah. When are you going to get on any social media platform, Shawn?
He's
Well,
a
I
social. He's a social hermit.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find me.
Can't find you. I bet your wife can find you on Find My iPhone.
Ooh,
Yeah.
watch out for that. You got to deactivate that shit.
She finds the kids that way.
Yeah, that's good, but you don't want.
That's been a point of contention in my marriage ever since the iPhone came out.
Yeah.
Well, why won't you let me find you? I'm like, well, because I had GPS in my work trucks, and I don't need everybody knowing exactly where I am every minute of the day.
Yeah.
But it's been a sore subject.
Okay, so that's a nice look into Jeff's relationship.
Yeah, there you go.
Write in and call about Jeff's relationship if you'd like. 614-414-2274.
All advice welcome.
My old lady told me she'd rather not know where I was at.
Right. Yeah, head in the sand.
She loves me.
Yeah. Just keep thinking that. So let's jump into these.
Shout out, honey.
All right. Shout out to you, Mrs. Henry. So let's jump into these new NCAA rules. I'll kind of explain them briefly. I'm not going to go into great detail because they're pretty much self-explanatory. If you know how football works, it should be obvious. So the first one, I like to call the war on kickoffs. So basically, in my
Aptly
opinion,
named.
the kickoff rule is being adjusted to allow for a fair catch, similar to a punt, where the receiver would signal a fair catch, but the offensive team gets the ball at the 25, not where the receiver catches the ball, which was the current rule prior to this one. So a fair catch inside the 25, then putting the ball to 25, in my opinion, kills the coffin corner kickoff, which is our bread and butter of Urban Meyer's special teams. Jeff, what do you think? How do you think this changes our strategy on kickoffs?
I don't know. Logically, I would say you just, like what we saw Urban doing. A lot of teams do this. They try to just pooch it right up and land like at the 5 to the goal line to try to entice the guy to bring it out. I don't see how. Yeah, you're right. Kicking it to that one side and putting it in the corner. Yeah, teams are just going to catch it, and we're going to start a lot of drives from the 25. I don't really know what a strategy would be. I mean, or they might just say, the hell with it, just kick it deep and, like a normal kickoff, try to put it in the end zone and start over. Now, is the starting line for touchbacks still going to be the same?
Yeah.
Did they change that?
No, that didn't change at all, no.
Okay. So, so they're going to say, well, if the ball's at the 2, we'll catch it and go to the 25. If it's in the end zone, it's out to the 40, right? 35? 40?
35.
On the touchback?
35.
35. I don't really know how much it's going to change strategy. There's definitely going to be a lot less contact. Certain points of the game.
I think the new strategy. I'm thinking the new strategy has to be either, like you said, Jeff, kick it deep and just whatever, get it at the 25, or you get a new style of kicking where you're squibbing these things where they hit the ground. You don't give them an opportunity to do a fair catch, and you run your guys down there. The problem is you're not getting any height on the ball. It's going to get into a player's hands quicker, and that could be a recipe for disaster. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I think it changes a lot, and you just took a whole element out of the game, and everyone loves a kickoff return, and I don't think you're going to see many of those anymore, except for teams that are down and need a Hail Mary late or something. They're going to try and run it out.
Well,
right.
My concern is the starting field position is basically going to be 10 yards more than a typical drive if you follow like Ohio State's method of kicking into the coffin corner, inside the 5. So, we're covering kicks pretty freaking good, like inside the 15. I watched that the USC game, the bowl game from January, and they didn't get one past the 20 on their returns. It was perfectly placed every time, except maybe one, and they barely got it past the 15 on most kicks. So this, I think, gives the offenses a 10-yard advantage going up against the defense. So I think it promotes offense. It helps the offense out by.
Sure.
Maybe the coach isn't as conservative with his play calling coming out of his 15 versus coming out of his 25. Right.
There's something to be said for that. I mean, I think I definitely think it's a disadvantage to the Buckeyes, because who do we put on that unit? We put a bunch of our young guys, true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, guys that are at Ohio State, obviously really high rated, just great athletes, but just don't have the game knowledge yet. And it was an advantage for us.
Most of them are fast as hell.
Well, right. That's another thing. I mean, we're putting some of our best athletes on that coverage.
I also think Herb's always used it to, hey, if you're going to crack the starting lineup, you're going to do well on special teams. This is going to take away a lot of opportunities for people to show out on special teams.
Yeah. I think it's a slippery slope, too, because at some point, I think it's going to affect punts. You're going to start taking punts out of the game. I realize they have fair catches now when it comes to punting, but it just seems like it opens the door for basically no special teams anymore.
Right.
I
and
don't know.
that's
I mean, what are you going to do with punt? You're going to say, okay, on fourth down, you concede, you're not going to get the first down, and move the ball 50 yards, and it's the other team's ball. How would you do that without punting? I don't think
maybe
that
something
would
to
go
that
away.
effect. I don't know. I just think
lose it.
they're opening a Pandora's box where I get it. It's in the quote unquote player safety idea, but sometimes I think that's used in the wrong direction.
But if it becomes so common, you know, one of the funnest things when you're at a game is during that kickoff, the whole crowd's, you know, screaming,
Yeah.
you know, it's a good vibe, and you risk the chance of taking that away.
Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely lose the excitement, the crowd excitement and stuff like that.
Oh, yay, fair catch.
Yeah, you know.
it's going to be treated more or thought of more like an extra, you know, when the extra point, like, okay, they scored a touchdown. Well, we got a good 10 minutes until the offense gets the ball back, so we'll just go get a beer now or whatever, you know, because the extra point and the kickoff are going to be pretty much meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see how it progresses during the season too. I mean, I'm sure teams will be messing around with different things in the first couple of weeks of the season, but you know, we get into conference play and stuff. It's going to be all pretty cookie cutter, standard. Like you know when they're going to return the ball and when they're going to sit on it. But the strategy, like Shawn said, about that low lying, you know, this kicking like a line drive as hard as you can on some of those turf fields, you can get that ball bouncing all kinds of fucking ways. And if you got, you know, some up backs or you know, some of the linemen or whatever that are up in the wedge, you know, they're going to try to let that ball go. But it's, you know, I don't know. I always did like that squib kick. If you could, you know, see some people that, you know, like some linemen or something like that, you know, hey, let's just kick the ball as hard as we can at him at his feet and see what the hell happens. Keep all your speed guys on the kickoff coverage team to play some of those ricochets or those high bounces.
Well, that brings up another great point. If you're going to start doing that, then you probably got your hands team in there all the time because you can't afford that shit.
Right.
I think as a return team, I would go with the hands team at all times. Yes. I would have maybe like a fullback or a linebacker.
Tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends. But yeah, mostly every ball handling athletes.
But you really have no control over a fucking squib kick, it seems. Once it hits the ground, who knows where it's going to go? You know, your only luck would be if it bounces off somebody's knee pad and comes back at you as a kicking team.
So is the rule basically for player safety? That's why they're doing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They want to eliminate those head on head, you know, those full speed.
Yeah, because the kickoff team gets a running start, you know, for 50, 60 yards, and it causes a lot of injuries, I guess.
If I ran 50, 60 yards, I'd have an injury.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it to 60. It would take a couple of knees.
But I tell you what, some of the biggest hits I've ever had in my career was covering kicks. I mean, you can light people up if you got that big of a head start coming.
Yeah, and people, some people just aren't ready for the hit.
Yeah, and it's fun both ways. It's intense. I've smoked some people on kickoff. I've been smoked on kickoff. I mean, it goes both ways.
Right.
Sure.
But I mean, that definitely gets the crowd. Like, you know, if you score a touchdown, maybe go up a score or two in a big game, you kick off, and then you fucking drill that returner on a big hit. Then, you know, it's just like your defense comes out, and it's just momentum.
Right.
You know, it can definitely change a game. You know, at least get the crowd hyped up.
Yeah, especially if you tackle a guy inside the 10 or something. You know.
Yeah.
They got their backs against the wall. You know, they're gonna come out and probably run it 3 times into the center's back.
I think it's one of the most exciting plays in football, and it's
right.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to all wait and see how it actually plays out. I think the better teams are obviously not going to be calling for fair catch. They're going to be running it out, and maybe it's fine when you're playing a Bowling Green. They're like, man, don't let these animals come down here and kill us. Give us a break. So
right.
Maybe it'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Herb's strategy right out the gate, and then other team strategies against us. And once everybody gets like their strategy on tape, how the adjustments are made, or if everybody just goes to one basic strategy, of just kicking it up in the air around the 25 and see what happens. I would think a pop-up right around the 20 makes some sense, because
I would think you'd do like modified onsides. Not if they're going to give you the ball at the 25 anyway. Well, screw it, just squib it down to, like you said, the 20, but make sure it hits the ground so they've got to put it in play. Well, of course, I guess they can kneel on it at that point, but
sure.
But it's a live ball.
Yeah, right. And you never know. You get some kids out there. It's still college, so you don't have a bunch of pros, but you get a kid. He might just have a fucking brain fart and be like, "Oh, I gotta run." And, be like, "No, fall down!" Everybody's screaming at him, "Fall down!" Right. He's trying to make a play or something. So you might still run into some of that. So I don't know. I think it'll be kind of interesting to watch the first couple weeks, but I think it's gonna get pretty monotonous as far as either everybody's gonna disobey or not disobey the rule, but everybody's still gonna run them out, or it's just gonna be like, "Oh, cool, now we can just sit on it." And
I think
so. Some coaches more conservative than others. They're gonna say, unless you got 25 yards, you sit on the damn ball.
Yeah,
I don't care what happens.
Yeah, I can't see anybody telling their kids you got free reign to return it from any place on the field. I think they're going to go in there with a strategy. If the ball is kicked inside this yard line, say the 20, then you take the fucking fair catch. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I think very few players in the country are going to be given the license to do whatever the hell they want.
Unless you're down and you need a spark or need something big. And yeah, I agree. All right, that rule pisses me off.
Yeah,
Let's go to the next
that's
one.
the worst one. Okay, so these two rules are about timing, and I think they're good because it kind of keeps the game moving. You don't have these long commercial breaks after somebody scores a touchdown or something. So the first one is, after a touchdown, the play clock will be set at 40 seconds, and this is to speed up the extra point or 2-point attempt. So I like that. Because remember, like every time somebody scores a touchdown, you got half the bench coming on the field and giving him high fives, and they're doing all these dances and shit. Now there's a clock set to it. You got to get your ass off the field.
You tell me okay. There's not been a clock set to once the touchdown scored till the play has to be snapped, the next play?
No, think about how long we've seen players celebrate in the end zone. There's no way that was 40 seconds.
Okay. I never knew that. I guess I never thought of it. I just assumed that there always was a play clock.
Yeah, you would have thought, or maybe they weren't enforcing it. I don't know, but this is an actual play clock being set to 40 seconds. I'm on board with anything that takes out these meaningless wastes of time,
Yeah, because a lot of times it's the celebration's a little uncalled, or not. I don't want to say uncalled for, but it's not a very good celebration. I mean, some of these kids aren't very creative.
So the rule's more about squashing the kids' creativity and their celebrations.
Just keeping them down, keeping the workers down, man. That's all it is.
So yeah, Shawn,
I don't know, but I agree. Obviously, for the viewing pleasure at home, it's going to be much nicer. So
when am I supposed to take a bathroom break, man?
Well, you better pinch it or go
after touchdowns. That's when I haul in there, man.
Get a bucket.
DVR, man. You can't pause it. Then you fast forward through the next breaks, commercials, and boom, you're right back at live.
I live live, Jeff. I live live.
Yeah. All right.
Henry with the quote of the day.
So yeah, you can get to your fair catch kickoffs much quicker. You don't have to wait.
That's right.
So the other one that I think it makes sense, and I don't know why this wasn't installed already, is following a kickoff, the play clock will be set to 40 seconds to restart play more quickly. So apparently there was no play clock once a kickoff was over.
I can't believe that shit either. I mean, then
that used to be one of those long commercial breaks.
At one point, maybe the ref wouldn't do it immediately, but at some point you got to have your fucking guys out there.
Well, yeah, I think TV was dictating the kind of break because that was one of those long, like
yeah.
2-minute commercial breaks.
True.
You know, so they're saying "fuck you, TV." It's our sport.
Really?
It's kind of the way I see it. You're gonna have to have.
That's kind of strange. With all the money, you'd think they'd
Yeah.
want to make more.
Exactly. I would have thought that TV would, whoever, ESPN, Fox, whoever said, you're going to give us this amount of time. We're going to air this amount of commercials throughout the game. You're giving us that time. I thought the channel or the station would be able to dictate that to the NCAA.
But
that's kind of a bold move by the NCAA to say, no, we're making rules for our game, not for TV.
Right, but I would say look at the length of the games. They're getting longer and longer gradually, not by a lot, but 10 to 15 minutes over the last few years. They're getting longer.
We have instant replay now too.
Yeah.
The reviews.
They
the
made a
review,
correction on that
targeting
where
reviews
you
and
don't,
shit.
where clock keeps running where it didn't on after certain situations. Now I think because the games were getting so freaking long.
Oh yeah, I mean, was the toe inbounds or not? 5 minutes later,
Yeah.
the 8-yard completion counts. Well, what the fuck, Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm saying it helps TV to have this continuous stream of play without all these big breakups of time, because people are not hanging around for the entire game as long, because it's stretching so long.
I don't know. I love it. It's like less time that I gotta hear the wife because she knows when the game's on.
Yeah.
Zip it. So I love the long games. I try to watch. I wish football just ran on a loop for 14 hours.
Touchdown. Okay, honey, you got 40 seconds.
Right. I'm watching the clock the whole time, and you're done. Back to the game.
Get yourself a whistle.
Right.
Yeah.
Like stopwatch. Just be up there, hold it up in the air. Click.
All right, so another big rule is the 4-game redshirt limit. So now
This is
you
big.
could play anybody for 4 games and they don't lose their redshirt. 4 games in one season. So this opens a lot of questions for me. Like, when do you choose to use a player? Do you use them early in the season? Late in the season? You wouldn't want to waste it in garbage time, would you? Or would you? To see if he can play in the big stage. Or do you save him for a big game?
I think there's a lot. I think almost all of that will be determined. Like all of it's on a case by case basis. Where your depth is on the team. What kind of player is he? I think all that factors. And some kids just won't be physically ready when the season starts.
For sure.
But I think if they could say, or like say a kid plays, or anybody even plays first game, gets injured, like what Sprinkle did 2 years ago.
Right.
Blew his knee out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
First game, first quarter of the first game. If you think that guy can really help you later in the year, well, shit. You can play him 3. You could potentially try to play him later, up to 3 games, and if he's not healthy, then you say, all right, well, then screw it, and we'll just redshirt you. I think there's going to be some kids that they're going to start right away and say, hey, can this kid play or not? And to find out, and if not, then they'll just shut him down and say, well, you need another year. Other people, I think they might be waiting. Hey, this kid's not going to be ready if the season starts. Let's make sure he's ready to play those last 4 games of the year. Who do we have right before Michigan this year? Michigan State?
That's like 2 games before that.
Is
But
it?
I don't know.
Well,
but
what I'm saying?
can't-
Like you build somebody up to play, the game before Michigan, Big Ten championship bowl game. There might be some freshmen that are injured or something like that. Do you want to be able to bring them back and play 4 games?
That'd be
and then
Maryland.
still decide if you want to redshirt them.
Yeah, we played
Is,
Maryland.
is this only for freshmen, or can I
Yeah.
do this to a junior and he got beat out by a freshman or underclassman?
That's what I'm
He
getting
only
at.
played
kinda.
in 4 games.
No, it's only for freshmen. You can't do that with a senior.
Well, if they have, are you sure if it's not just that they have eligibility left?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a senior who wouldn't have eligibility left for a following year,
there are so few times that like a Michael Thomas is redshirted as a sophomore. I don't think it even really applies. It just is not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to be that big a
typically.
deal for us. I think the way Herbs ran that program, if you're ready to play, you're ready to play.
Yeah.
And he's going to put you in. I think your guys that you know can make an immediate impact. J.K. Dobbins, Chase Young, these types of guys. You got to get them in. And if they're kicking ass and they are what you think they are, then you're not going to redshirt them at all, and they're not going to need 5 years at Ohio State anyway.
Exactly.
So it's kind of irrelevant at that point. Now, to Jeff's point earlier, especially for the guys that don't come in early. The guys that come in early might be able to go first, but those guys that come in late might, haven't been, I know they're in summer workouts, but haven't been in the program, don't know the playbook well enough yet. Those guys, you might hold off and start inserting them later into the year. But gosh, I hope we're not, holding out a red shirt because we think we need them to beat Michigan.
No, but the first name that I came into my head was Jeremy Ruckert.
Yeah.
Tight end.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking of a weapon too.
Thinking since he just came in, he's just on campus now. Maybe he's not going to be ready to really push for playing time, beginning of the season. But they might be seeing, this guy building up like, oh shit, we can use him. This kid we can use. Let's wait till we absolutely have to. Maybe. I think it's going to give him more flexibility. Obviously, it probably won't come in to play very much. Like you said, Urban's probably going to stick to the way he does things. It seems to work, but I think it just gives them a little more flexibility with kids that get injured and stuff like that. I don't know. I like the rule. I mean, I think it's a good rule.
Turn off your turn signal.
I think.
Fucking blinker.
The clock on is like 60 minutes.
Sound like a Pinto.
And now
that's the countdown for how long you got to fucking ramble, Jeff.
Nice. That's what we need is a clock for each of us. Kind of like Jeff's 40-second wife clock. My one question though is, what if you got like some fucking speed demon like I can't think of
Jalen Gill.
Yeah, a Gill maybe. He's a little small right now, but yeah, say somebody like him, and you save him for like the Michigan game or the Michigan State game or whatever it might be, and this kid just creates havoc because the defense has never seen him before, and it's one more guy they got to accommodate for.
I don't know.
Work or not?
If he's that different and that special, maybe, but I don't know. I just don't see it.
So
now I do love it for the fact, because I don't know what the rules were for a medical redshirt. So you got a kid that goes out there and plays 3 games where in the past his redshirt's gone and he gets hurt. It's like, well, he didn't play his 5th game, so he's good.
Right. You're saying that shouldn't count for a medical redshirt. That should still be under the new rule redshirt. That's
right.
What you're saying. Yeah. And then if he got injured the following year, then you could burn his medical red shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some value in that, I think, and that's looking out for the kids.
Yeah, I would anticipate, beginning, we're going to see a lot of freshmen playing, at least first game or two, because why not? Because they can play up to 4 and still redshirted. So I think Urban's gonna put a lot of kids on the field and see who does what. So I think you'll get to see more of the younger kids playing earlier in the year, I think. And the ones that, maybe just look like they're just not ready, then he'll make that decision before the 4th game is over and just redshirt them. But
I'm wondering if it doesn't change the damn thing.
We'll get to see some of these recruits. I think it's going to fluctuate per kid, really. I mean, I don't know if teams are going to have a set program like, okay, this is going to be our rule for freshmen now because of the new redshirt rules. No, I think it's going to be on case by case basis. But I do.
Imagine in the box score. Remember going through some games last year where there's like 26 guys with tackles? We may end up with like 40 guys that have a tackle in a game.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I just think maybe it doesn't change anything because a lot of those garbage games we see true freshmen getting in there, and young guys that don't get a lot of playing time.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, you might see a lot more kids knowing they can play up to 4 games. Then after those 4 games, though, if you've played a bunch of your freshmen in the first 4 games of the year, and then you might be wanting or planning to redshirt them the entire time, but maybe it's some big 5-star recruit, and you got to keep them happy a little bit. Well, yeah, we'll let you play the first 4 games, go crazy. Then you can still pull them back.
But again, though, I don't know how many times do the Buckeyes get in games where you're bringing those kids in. I mean, I feel like obviously we're in a lot of blowouts, but you go to that blowout mode, it's usually the second team guys that are going to play most of the game. You might there at the very end of the fourth quarter start bringing in the third team and beyond. But I mean, unless you're on the 2 deep, you're not going to play a lot.
I don't see it changing much for the Buckeyes because otherwise it would hurt recruiting to say, yeah, you'll play in 4 games maybe, but that's it. What kind of kid wants to hear that before they commit to a college?
Well, and that's why Urban will stay with this thing. He's like, hey, we don't redshirt. We'll put you out. If you can make the 2 deep, we'll put you out there and play you. And if you can play, you're going to play. We're not going to redshirt you.
Yeah, there might be some special cases, but you're right. No coach is really going to change their way of doing things, I wouldn't think.
I thought I heard Meyer even make a quote that, we don't end up with a ton of 5th-year redshirt guys.
No.
You either got passed up or you went to the pros early.
Yeah.
Or you're JT Barrett.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to have very many JT Barretts coming.
I don't know. Well, actually, that's the one position where I could see it being useful because Meyer's quarterbacks, to me, don't always translate to good NFL quarterbacks.
For sure.
And you get a JT Barrett or Tebow or whatever.
Hey, sidebar, is JT Barrett going to make the Saints team, you think?
No.
I don't know. I don't see why not.
Moral leader, maybe.
I saw a quote. Drew Brees was on. Oh shit, I forget the show now. But his quote was. It was mostly somebody talked about Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And he said his quote was, well, "I'll take as many Ohio State guys as they'll send us." He said they come in with the right attitude. He said they come in with the will to compete, unlike young kids you see in this league. He's like, Urban Meyer's definitely got it going down there in Columbus. I'll take as many of those kids as they want to send us. And I don't know. It was probably mostly talking about Michael Thomas, but there's quite a few Buckeyes on that roster.
Lattimore.
We got Von Bell.
Yeah. Lattimore.
So I think he sees it, especially going against Bell and Lattimore every day. JT. I think, and JT's there. I'm sure he's probably, JT's obviously not lighting them up like Drew Brees is on, throwing dimes out there, but he's probably pretty impressive. I would imagine it's just a young rookie having command of his squad and stuff. So I don't know. It's a pretty cool compliment from Drew Brees.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
kind of. Oh, I wonder if he went down there today, Drew. All them Big Ten records that I took from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and then Drew's like, "Hey, you see my ring? You see that big fucking Super Bowl ring?"
They're both Texas quarterbacks.
Take you back to my house, show you that.
Yeah.
You're on that $250,000 practice squad salary.
Yeah, I take that.
Did you forget I could run for mayor when I retire in New Orleans? But no, it was pretty cool compliment. I just like reading that shit because that finds its way into recruits' heads. When these coaches are talking and stuff like that.
For sure.
All these kids, all these big 5-star kids, they're all thinking NFL. Give me 3 years.
Every one of them. Even most of the 4-star kids are thinking it. And who's going to prepare me for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say. A lot of them, the smart ones especially, when they're interviewed right now, like say the 2019 and 2020 kids that I hear interviewed, they're like, who is not just going to prepare me for the NFL, but also life after football. The smart ones.
Real life Wednesdays?
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example because a lot of them realize only 1% of college football players make it to the NFL.
Yeah, but about 50% of Buckeye scholarship kids do.
Yeah, the percentage is higher when you go to a blue blood, for sure.
Right, and that's what kids, that's why Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, I mean, yeah, they're like, well, yeah, maybe 1% of all them thousands, but I know 10 guys off this squad will,
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Alabama, I think we're going to see Alabama in the playoffs again. I'm calling a rematch.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Hope we got tape running. Shawn, did you start up the tape recorder?
Just throwing a little light one out there.
Oh, we're not recording these?
Yeah, you're supposed to start the tape recorder for any
Shit!
bold predictions. Damn it. Oh, well. So let's finish up these NCAA rules before we get into playoff talk and who we're going to beat. So the last one is unblocked transfers. So the NCAA really didn't have a rule against transfers. So this kind of reminds coaches and conferences that transfers should be unblocked. Like, hint, hint, Gene Chizik at Auburn or Gus Malzahn. So the conferences still, I think, have the ability to install their own blocks if they want to, but at least this is an NCAA regulation, and for what it's worth, I don't know if it'll change much, but it is bullshit when you see these players want to go to a team, and I think of the Buckeyes, of course, and Antoine Jackson. He had to go play a fucking full year at a JUCO when he was a D1 player. He's playing at Auburn. That is horseshit. Because
I don't know.
Auburn didn't want him to go to Ohio State.
Then don't make a shitty decision where you're going at first. I don't mind holding them a little bit accountable for that. I don't. And like Jeff said, it could get to be a very slippery slope. What if, what if Larry Johnson's, or what if Warner, who's now Michigan's O-line coach, was recruiting a kid from Ohio State, and he was actually playing for Ohio State, but this guy thinks that Warner's is like a father figure, and you got 3 O-linemen that transfer to Michigan and are playing next year. That's fucked up.
Right, he says,
so I think I read it on one of the maybe 11 Warriors or something. They were talking about what if Scott Frost brought his fucking quarterback with him to Nebraska, and half that team that can play.
Sure.
Yeah,
I get that.
That's what
That seems like not likely. It seems like a little worst case scenario. I can't see that happening.
Oh, sure. But it can. I mean, the first time a coach
it can and it will,
and he takes the star quarterback with him. Shit, it will happen if it's open range like that. Because some of those coaches don't have the morals that they act like they do on TV.
Oh no.
And they're trying to get that golden parachute fucking $60 million buyout fucking contract, guaranteed another $50 million, whatever. These coaches, if you get one D1 college football job, you're setting yourself up for life. And if you win, oh shit. I mean, you're just fountains of money the rest of your life. So
and then kids do it over and over again. Can I play for? Oh, you got Baker Mayfield. I'm a stud receiver. Okay, I'm playing for him. Oh, he graduated. Okay, now I'm going to go play for this stud quarterback. Oh, that guy's gone.
But you still have to sit
it
out.
can get ugly.
You still have to sit out unless you've graduated. You
still have to sit out?
Yeah. This is not carte blanche. You can just go to 4 colleges in 4 years.
Oh.
It's just unblocked. The transfer is unblocked. Like Auburn can't block Antoine Jackson from going to Ohio State.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the rule a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm for that. Conferences, I think, should be able to still, because I don't want my guys going to interconference necessarily, but out of conference, okay, I like that rule. I can get down with that.
Yeah. Me and Henry were going down the wrong road.
Yeah. You guys always take things down the negative path.
But I mean, there still is a chance, though. Like someone again said, like when Frost went to Nebraska here. Okay, what's to stop half his players from coming, or just the ones he wants? All right, guys, come on over.
Yeah, they would all have to sit out.
That to me, you've opened like free agency in college football, and it's still fucked.
Right, but they would have to sit a year, And I don't know how many kids want to do that.
Would they? Because half these kids aren't. Shea Patterson isn't sitting a fucking year. I
Right.
just
That-
heard
now,
a
that's
couple
because
of our guys that left aren't going to be sitting a year.
Yeah, he got a waiver. Joe Burrow graduated already, but Shea
Yeah,
Patterson
I knew
got a
that.
waiver claiming that Ole Miss and Hugh Freeze misled him on the extent of the penalties.
right,
NCAA
and only
penalties.
because that school was going through sanctions was he allowed
Yeah,
the waiver.
and that's
Uh,
not.
But I also heard that Antonio Williams might get a play this year.
Now that I wouldn't understand because
You sure he hasn't graduated?
Yeah, he's the same grade as Weber. Weber's a true junior, right?
Yeah.
yes. I didn't think he graduated, and I didn't think he was playing this year. But
He didn't graduate, but I just read something where at least they're trying. Maybe the NCAA shuts it down, but I think that's a thing.
Well, you can apply for a waiver. Nothing hurts. There's nothing wrong with applying for
Yeah.
a waiver. You just get turned down possibly. Maybe there's some extenuating circumstance if he hasn't graduated from Ohio State. And you're probably right. I don't think he has, but maybe there's some other circumstance he can use to try and win this waiver. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me since he's transferring away.
yeah, I should say, look, NCAA. Look, did you see those two guys in front of me?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna play. They're both gonna be in
Right.
the league.
It's like,
next
come on,
year.
I can play football, but I just can't play here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe he'll get like a it's too bad waiver. So that wraps up the NCAA rule talk. Let's jump into the top 5 offense and defense. So basically what I want from you guys, we'll go back and forth. Kind of, you can choose the same players, so this doesn't have to be like a draft per se, but give me let's start with the offense, and let's go 1 through 5. 1 is your most important. Let's go,
That's
Shawn, go ahead. Let's start off with your number 1 offensive player. Most
well,
important.
that's easy this year. And if you guys disagree with me, then you're idiots. It's Dwayne Haskins. Our whole season is going to be Dwayne Haskins. With the Burrow and Burrow transferred away, the world is on Haskins' shoulders. The table is set. The talent is amazing around him at the skill positions. I think the line will come together and do all right. So to me, Dwayne Haskins, I think his ceiling is super high. I just worry first time starting. That's a grind through that Big Ten schedule. And, you have a couple bad games where you throw 3 picks or make some stupid moves late in the game, and you fucking lost 2 games that you shouldn't have probably.
Or you get housed by fucking Iowa. Right.
That could always happen.
No, it can't because we don't play them this year.
Well, maybe it's Big Ten
I
championship.
wish we did. I want to get. I fucking hate Iowa. I want to get.
Oh,
them back.
they're gonna hate playing us the next time. I don't care if it's 10 years from now. They're gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah.
If Urban's still coaching, he will not leave that field until there's 3.
If he's not
digits on that
coaching, I
foot.
bet he comes back for that game and says, "I need to watch a good old fashioned ass whipping."
All right, Jeff. Your number 1 most important offensive player.
Well, like Shawn said, I mean, I was going to go with Dwayne Haskins without, excluding him almost from the list because obviously we go as far as he goes, and like Shawn said, there's no depth. The depth chart's been cleaned a little bit, so yeah, he's nothing looking over his shoulder. It's his show, so obviously he goes number 1, the most important.
All right, let's stick with the offensive side of the ball, Shawn. Let's go with your number 2 most important player on the offense.
I'd go with 2 as J.K. Dobbins, maybe 2A Weber, basically the starting running back position. I think we're entering a new era of Buckeye football with Dwayne Haskins. He obviously doesn't have the skill set that Barrett had. His skill set isn't anywhere close to that. It's a different. So I don't expect to see Haskins running the ball 19 times a game. I see
It
those
better not
numbers,
be.
I see those numbers coming down to, I'm hoping, 4 to 7 a game in opportune moments. So I'm thinking Dobbins is going to have a monster year. And if we're running the ball like I hope and think we can, I mean, I think we could have 2,000-yard rushers in the backfield. So I'm going to go with Dobbins as my number 2, but
right.
2B is definitely Weber.
All right. Jeff, you're number 2.
My number 2, Ben Victor.
Ooh.
I think he's the most skilled of our wide receivers. I think he has the most upside. I want to see this dude become the number 1 stud that everybody game plans for. Do you know what's coming to him? You still can't stop him. I want to see if Ben Victor can get to that point. I think having that big touchdown target for Haskins, the big home run target, is right at almost at a 1A, 1B with Haskins is most important.
Okay, I like that. He is not a starter. You do realize that.
Well,
do we really know that? I mean,
You think he's
Okay,
I think Ben. I'm with Jeff. I think Ben's going to have plenty of opportunities. He's going to be on that field.
Yep, I agree with the 6-man rotation at receiver. That I love so much. Huge fan, Zach. Sorry. Shawn, you're number 3 most important offensive player.
My number 3, and I'm going to butcher this. I apologize for not being that prepared. Who's getting the left tackle? Is that Mumford or?
Yes.
They got Mumford slated there right now.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone thought Prince was going to slide over, as that's kind of been the way we've done it. But as I understand it, it might be Mumford. I guess maybe whoever's playing that left tackle spot. We don't have as evasive a quarterback now. We're going to need to protect that blind side. And if it's going to be with the young kid, that's going to be huge for us. We're gonna need to keep Haskins not getting the jitters.
Yeah.
The young kid with jitters, bad risk. So, the left tackle spot and how that develops that's it for me.
All right. Jeff, you're number 3.
Same. They're Mumford, left tackle.
Nice.
We've had a great run of left tackles. Mumford did kind of surprise me. I thought for sure they were going to move Prince over from right to left. I was nervous about. I'm still nervous about Prince being at right tackle, but but if they're Mumford, if he's earned it, he's gonna have a hell of a time, especially with more drop back passing that we're doing this year. He's gonna get tested. So we got to have a solid left tackle.
Let's go with Shawn. You're number 4.
My number 4 is Percy Harvin. Paris Campbell.
Percy Harvin has way better hands. Thank you.
Well, we'll see. This is the year. Campbell's gonna show out at that H-back spot, and Herb loves that spot. It's gonna be hopefully a safety valve for the young quarterback, and obviously we know the speed that kid has and the talent. Again, he needs to hold on to the ball, but part of that's going to be him holding on to the ball. Part of that's going to be building Dwayne Haskins' confidence to kind of go hand in hand with, like Jeff said about Victor. All these guys are going to have to do a little bit better job than what they've done, Zach. So coach them up. But you know how much we rely on that H-back position, and I think we'll continue to. And Paris has all the talent in the world. You just got to hang on to the damn football.
Jeff, you're number 4.
Ditto. Paris Campbell. I'm looking at my list. It's following Shawn right down the road. Paris Campbell, yeah. It's that position. It's that Cadillac position that he just has to be a star. He has to be.
Yeah. And if he can catch the ball, he has a chance for a huge breakout season. The kid has the size, the speed. He has world-class speed.
Mm-hmm.
If you put the ball in his hands, he is gone. It's just getting that connection. It's just mind-blowing how he has not improved in 3 years.
And them seeing his production, especially last year, because last year was really more of a breakout year for him. Because I think they're going to continue. Kevin Wilson another year in the offense, and Aaron Day. I think they're going to figure out more ways to get him the ball easier. He's still got to catch the ball. I don't know how many touchdowns are we up to that he's dropped in the last 3 years. 5, 6, maybe.
Just passes alone.
I mean, I'm talking about just touchdowns alone. The passes, yes, are, the 3rd and 5, and you drop it at the first 7-yard gain. Those kill us too. But he's got to make that jump. If he doesn't, then I think you just go to DeMario or somebody else to run that position. But even if he doesn't make the big leap from last year, he's still a hell of a weapon to have. Defenses are going to be knowing where Paris Campbell is on the field for sure.
They just don't need to cover him if he goes out in a pattern.
Well,
so anyway,
I think I got Shawn on the last one though. We'll see.
All right, Shawn, you're number 5.
There's no way you got my guy. If you got my guy, then you are genius level.
My number 5 guy right now.
My number 5 guy that is going to amaze Run DMC. This is it.
Oh.
I don't know where, how, but he's getting on that field and he's going to wow the shit out of us.
I hope
H-back,
so.
Slot receiver, little running back, whatever you got.
Change of pace. Yeah, I hope so. I love watching the dude whenever he has the ball in his hand, or in open field. He's got to be a little bit bigger now. He's got to be a little bit healthier, hopefully.
Yeah.
I agree. That is not the guy I had, Shawn, but I hope to God we do get to see him.
Well, who do you got that's better than my boy?
My 5th most important offensive player, Jeremy Ruckert.
Oh,
You're
you're all over him.
The hype train. The hype is huge with this kid. I didn't have much faith in him coming in producing right away until I heard everybody talk about it. Doesn't matter if this kid's here for spring ball or not. He's coming in and he's going to make a difference. Hopefully he stays healthy. I picture him. I think he's a more athletic Gesicki from Penn State. And that dude. I know why Ohio State wanted him so bad. You can't guard him. I think he's gonna make a hell of a pro player, just because his ball skills and his size. And I think Ruckert can be that, if not better.
My only question with that, and I love it, and I love Ruckert, and think the kid's got a ton of potential, but I'm still not convinced, and I don't know how Urban does it. We don't fucking throw to tight ends. So how do you get like these best tight ends? We got a tight end room that's like top guys in their class for the last couple years. We got amazing kids in there, but we don't throw them the ball.
Yeah. Luke Farrell is already been given the starter position. Urban anointed him that out of spring camp, so he's a starter. Ruckert's
I thought what's his name was still in that mix big time. The converted
Rashad Berry.
Yeah,
he would be second string right now, I'm sure, but he doesn't have the experience of a Luke Farrell. I mean, just making that transition in 1 year.
And my list, I'm kind of going full season out. I wasn't thinking about who's going to be starting day one. The 5 most important. I think over the course of the season, I think when we look back at the season, I think Ruckert's name will be there. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be a difference maker for us. My question on him getting playing time is because he's not really big enough to be a blocking tight end. He's more of a receiving tight end. I don't see him blocking too many people. He's not that big yet. As a freshman, anyway.
Times will tell.
Yes, I got you. I'm sticking by it though.
All right.
You tried to talk me out of it.
Let's switch over to
that's the first man crush of the year.
Yeah.
Jeff on Ruckert.
You got the tape recorder on?
Fuck.
Damn it, Shawn. You are in charge of the tape recorder.
Shawn, for crying out loud.
Let me rewind my cassette here.
All right. While you're doing that, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Let's see. Since Shawn went first on the offense, Jeff, you can go first on defense.
Kendall Sheffield, cornerback.
Oh,
he's the next one. He's got to be.
Can't believe you started with a corner.
You look at this defense. Some new names, some guys that played a lot last year, but coming in starting roles. I think Kendall Sheffield just needs to be that lockdown Marshawn Lattimore, that Denzel Ward, that Bradley Roby, that guy. That has to be that guy. Our next number one pick. Keep that streak moving. I want to see him take control, be like the defensive leader, and just be that lockdown dude out there. Okay, well that side of the field's shut off because Sheffield's on.
So you're leapfrogging Damon Arnett and saying Sheffield is the number one corner.
Oh, by far. Not even fucking close.
I'm
you are such an Arnett hater.
I'm wanting him to be, yes. I want him to head and shoulders above. I want him to rise above the rest of that cornerback group and improve.
I think Sheffield. I think he will too, Jeff. I do not think you will be disappointed with that. I mean, anybody that talks about that kid, he's a freak. He was like one of the highest recruits coming out, and then did his little Antoine thing, Blinn College to Ohio State. I think the kid's he is going to be locked down. That's a good pick.
Setting
a little bit different than my number one. I'm going with the number one draft next year. Baby Bear Bosa.
That's your number one?
I think he's going to. I think he's going to play to be drafted high this year. I think that motor is going to be running. I think he's determined to do it, and I think people are going to have their hands full with that kid.
I think you can make the argument he's going to be playing a lot more than Joey did, and he's going to be playing a lot more than he did last year because of depth at the DN position.
Oh yeah, he won't be rotating. He's not going to be rotating with two other guys that are in the NFL, like last year with Hubbard and Taekwon.
But he is going to be rotating with other guys that are going to be in the NFL.
True. I left Bosa off my list because it's almost like a given. He's our best defensive player, so I just expect him to be great. He did not make my list.
Oh,
but I do. I mean, if you're saying the five most impactful players on defense, oh yeah, he's head and shoulders number one. He's number one on the team.
He's number one in the country.
Yeah, in the
right.
Fucking universe.
But do you want to go to my number two?
Yeah, I love it. Give me your number two.
It is a number two compared to Bosa. It is. I was having a hard time deciding. Malik Harrison, Tough Borland, or Keandre Jones. I mean, our linebacking crew. None of them, or all of them, have something to prove. Can all three of them be consistent and play game in, game out, play in, play out? We got some studs sitting behind them.
I don't think those guys you listed are going to play, Jeff.
None of them?
I say that only because they're the three starters right now. I think Baron Browning's going to be a starter before halfway through the season. But Malik Harrison, he's played well when we saw him. He played great in the USC game, I thought. Mm-hmm. But is he going to be able to make those kind of plays that we need from our outside linebackers? We've put a bunch of those guys in the NFL recently. Can any of these guys make that jump?
And can they overcome their position coach? Similar to the wide receiver room.
Is he? Did somebody need to wake him up? Is he napping in fucking players' lounge?
If I see fucking the fastest linebacker playing middle linebacker, I'm going to lose my shit. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, the linebacker's obviously a huge question mark right now, and the talent's there. Someone's going to step up. It's just, gosh, don't let all of them fucking take 3 steps forward on the play action every fucking time.
Yeah.
I want some guys with some instincts. My boy Pete Werner's going to get in that shit at some point.
He could, yeah, I think so. Who's your number 2, Shawn?
I think Browning and Warner. My number 2, I can't say anything that ain't already been said about Kendall Sheffield.
All right.
I agree with Jeff. Kendall's, to me, he's an NFL cornerback right now. He's just going to have to refine his stuff right now. He's faster than anybody. He's stronger than anybody out there. I think he's going to be a man among boys. You'd be stupid to throw it his way. And I'm with Jeff. I think he's going to be a top 10 pick next year's draft.
So you guys are still down on Arnett. Why is that? He's started for like 3 years now. Or been in the rotation for 3 years.
I don't know why I'm down on him. And he's Bosa's teammate, right?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I'm not necessarily down in the kid. I'm not slighting him by saying I think Kendall Sheffield would be one of the best in the country. I'm not really slighting Arnett by that. I
think Arnett is serviceable. I don't think Arnett is special, and I frankly think that Okudah and Wade got a lot higher ceilings both than Arnett.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, yeah, I agree because Arnett is the smallest of those 4. Sheffield, Wade, and Okudah. He's the shortest.
He's what, 5'10", 5'11"? I mean, Denzel Ward was 5'10", and they took him, 4th in the draft? Yeah. You say he's a great cover corner. I don't know if height, I don't know if it's just size. I think, well, we'll get to my list here, but
yeah. Go ahead. Lead right into number 3.
Number three, Jeffrey Okudah.
All right.
I guess
again.
Still
appalled.
Still not being down on Arnett. I just think Okudah needs to rise above him. He's a great kid. He's a great athlete. Great size. Everything.
I was impressed with his play in the bowl game against USC.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming in like that and.
Yep. And not really losing the beat. Like I don't think it's like they got another guy. So what if number 3's off the field or number 8's off the field? Well, number 1's there. It's same, just like our corners should come in like our defensive linemen. Like, oh, they got a 5-star, go off the field. Another 5-star's coming in. It's not like the offense isn't catching any breaks.
Yeah, that is. And keeping that rotation for how many years in a row of quality corners, from when Kerry Combs came in with Herb and they started that rotation thing, for how many years now, we're really lucky to have 3+ corners that we can just roll out there.
Yeah. And how many 5-stars behind them?
Yeah. Once in a while you'll get a Garyon Conley situation where coming in as a freshman, he's got the tools and everything and the skills, but has a bad night, and maybe it helps him down the road.
Yeah.
So was that your number 3?
That's my number 3, Jeffrey Okudah.
Shawn.
I'm going with D-tackle, Draymond.
Oh, that's a good one. He might be playing in some Rushman package.
He seems like more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, like a more of a pass rushing interior guy than a run stopper. But
I think he's got that with Herb likes that quick switch.
Yeah.
I didn't have to come back to Ohio State. I think he wanted to refine his craft a little bit. I think he's playing to get himself a nice contract next year. So that position is also loaded. So I think those guys, especially late in games, are going to be so much fresher. I feel like we go 3 deep at both the tackle positions on defense.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to play any of those guys that we put in there. But again, I think with a fresh Draymond and a hungry attitude and playing for a contract next year, I think he's going to be special.
All right. That's a little surprising there, but I'll take it. Jeff, you're number 4.
Big man, Chase Young.
All right. The Predator.
Chase Young, the Predator, needs to emerge. Having him opposite of Bosa, it only makes both of them stronger. Just by having that other guy. Like, you're not shifting your blocking schemes. If you shift to double team Bosa, you got Chase Young on the other side working on a tackle by himself. I think for Bosa to be as great as he can be, Chase Young needs to be great too.
Yeah.
And I totally expect. I mean, there's nothing that anybody has seen or heard that would think otherwise, that we're going to have the two of the best defensive ends in the country and wreaking havoc all day long. All them scouts and coaches and. Sorry, Shawn. I
couldn't hear you, Shawn.
No, go ahead. What were the scouts and coaches? What?
I said when pro day, when all the coaches, GMs, and everything shows up at Ohio State, Chase Young was getting talked about just because people were seeing him. Like, hey, who's that guy? Let's draft him.
Right, yeah,
he looks different than everybody else.
Yeah, he's different. Like you see Chase Young, you see like the team picture. Like you're drawn to Chase Young. You're like, he's different.
Yeah.
So
this could be that.
We actually had the same one, but now I'm changing my number for Jeff. Love Chase Young. I agree with everything you said. Him and Bosa tandem. How are you going to deal with it? But on top of that, who I had a man crush on is Coop. Coop is damn near. I mean, he's just, in my mind, just a notch below Young and Bosa. And when he comes in, he is not going to be trifled with. You're going to see. I don't think any of them are going to be quicker off the edge than Cooper. He's probably a little bit lighter than.
We're losing you.
So that's my boy, Coop.
Okay. That's a good choice. He'll definitely be in that DN rotation.
Well, I mean, you know how they've run it the last few years.
Yep.
We need that depth across the D line, and it's good for everybody.
This is going to be this could be a huge catapult kind of season for Cooper, Chase Young, these guys to really make that jump from kind of garbage time, kind of sometimes not playing in the most important situations to being those leaders that have to play more snaps and in those crucial downs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because mostly they're getting mop-up duty, but it's been proven these guys you don't need to be a 3-year starter or a 2-year starter at Ohio State to go pro. A lot of these guys will come in, they'll play their 1 year as a starter, and boom, top 10 pick, Marshawn Lattimore, Malik Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
These guys. If you're a 3-year starter, you're probably actually not even going pro.
Like the scouts don't even look at you. Oh, you played 3 years at Ohio State? Why didn't you leave after 2? Right.
Exactly. It's like we either screwed up our recruiting to keep it that you started 3 years, or something went wrong there.
Right.
Well, unless you're a starter, obviously those guys play 3 years and go.
So let's get to our number 5, Jeff.
Well, for number 5 it's not so much. I mean, everybody, all the guys, all the starters are important and everything. Number 5, I went with more of a question mark. Can Dante Booker stay healthy and help us? Can he contribute? Great potential. I think if he's healthy, the dude he's a hell of a player. But I guess he's more of a question mark of, can Dante Booker perform? Can he?
He's the one with the biceps, right? Like ripped them twice.
That's Hilliard.
That's Hilliard.
Oh,
that was the 5-star Justin Hilliard.
Yeah, he's the 5th-year senior. Last year he's mostly special teamer.
Booker came in that class with Hubbard and them. Big athlete out of St. Vincent, St. Mary's, I think. A great athlete playing that outside position. Hopefully, if he can stay healthy, and I think he could be a huge impact player for us. I think he'll get playing time. I mean, but it's hard to say that he can. Can Malik Harrison keep his job and keep Dante Booker on the bench? They kind of, they're going. My number 2 and number 5 are kind of bouncing back and forth. What are we getting from? Pretty much, what are we getting from our linebacking core?
What are we getting from our linebacker coach? That's my fucking question. I'll bang on this guy all night long. I'm gonna start my own Bill Davis podcast.
Maybe Cooter from down south will weigh in.
Yeah.
My number is question 2, and I'm going with the field safety position. Who's ever going to step up and play that? And Herb said his biggest concern on defense right now is the field safety.
Okay.
So I don't know who's going to take that. I think Pryor does, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about that Williamson moving there, or Reap, or one of these other guys. So the field safety position, to me, I mean, that's got to be about the funnest position. I hope someone steps up and has a ball playing that with the way our D-line's going to operate. And
Brendan White's another option.
I was wondering where they were going to find the spot for that kid.
I think defense is best for him.
Yeah, I bet he's filling out to be a nice, good size, strong safety. I thought he might even move to outside linebacker, but I'd be interested to see him getting on the field.
All right, that was a solid top 5. So let's get into our Twitter questions. We have 3. Jason came at us with 3 big ones.
Yes.
The Buckeye Jason, you might remember him from last year. His handle's at Jason33887. Question number 1 from Jason. Does Baron Browning get a starting spot this year? We kind of touched on this in our top 5s on defense. What do you guys think, Shawn?
By the end of the year, he will be a starter. Too much talent. I don't know how you keep him.
Jeff, what do you think?
Exact same. Health-wise, of course, taking health out of any of these equations, if he's healthy, I think he earns starting position. I think he's just too talented not to produce.
Yep.
I can't imagine that we really whiffed on that recruit. Pulling him out of Texas. I think he's just primed to take over. He's got a bunch of experienced guys in front of him. And they're nobody's not talented. This at Ohio State. So, but I think he earns enough playing time that they just need to keep him on the field. So I think by the end of the year he will be a starter. Yes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think even sooner than that. I think he'll be a starter week 1.
I was surprised looking at the depth chart. I was surprised he wasn't listed as a starter right away. But is he going to be playing that Keandre Jones position or more of the Malik Harrison? I guess that's how it probably. I'm sure he's learning both sides.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
The linebackers are supposed to be interchangeable, so who knows what crazy Bill Davis has up his sleeve. So anyway, question number 2. Do you ever see the game being an 8 o'clock game time? By that he means the Ohio State-Michigan game, of course.
Not when Urban Meyer's up there. Urban Meyer loves those night games, but not that game. For some reason, they like that game at noon. I remember they had it at 3:30 a couple times, maybe a decade ago or something like that, and it didn't seem like it had the same flair. I don't know. The noon game, I think it's just the way it's going to be. I think Urban likes that game being at noon, and I don't think he wouldn't let them change it. They definitely wouldn't change it without Urban signing off. I'm sure of that. So I would say
I think I made that comment even before that, or maybe Smith or somebody. They're like, the game's at noon. It's always going to be at noon until someone wants to pay him $10 million to play at night, and they're like, all right, I'm done at night.
Yeah.
But,
you never. Money talks,
I'd love to see it stay at noon. I like it.
I wonder if maybe a 3:30 might come into play at some point, though.
But we had one. We've had a couple of those. It's been a while, like before Urban was there.
Like 06, 07, something like that.
I think Tressel coached in a 3:30 game, or at least one or two, maybe like the home and home.
I remember it being dark out after one game that I was at, like 06, 07.
The game when we went to play Florida in the title game, it was dark in Columbus.
Yeah.
It was
when Michigan was number 2. It was 1 versus 2.
Yeah, I don't do that daylight savings time, bull.
Daylight savings time. Here it is, 3:30, and the sun is setting over Columbus. Oh, nearly. All right, let's get into question number 3. Your top 3 players you are most hyped about right now. I think we kind of covered 10 of them on each side, but give me 3 quick hitters, Jeff.
Sheffield, Haskins, Ben Victor.
No Ruckert?
Show me.
Dobbins, Paris,
Okay,
and DeMario McCall.
gotcha. I like those. Jeff, you still are not going to put Ruckert in your 3?
No, he made my top 10. He's not making my top 3.
All right.
Move along.
What, following you on Twitter?
All right, folks. Thank you for joining us once again. Shawn, thank you for coming at us somewhere in the
Live from both cups. They changed the recipe. They suck now. For those who didn't know.
Get that Michigan out of your mouth. We can't understand you.
Well, I'm in Tiffin. They don't have the best self-service here. It's like fucking 1988.
Oh, you don't say.
AT&T.
I can't believe you let your children go back to that town.
I didn't bring my children.
Oh,
I'm here to-
there you go.
Nice.
Good deal. Oh, I do have to throw in a little tidbit here, guys. I already have a $100 bet out to a Michigan fan on this game coming up because they said, "Oh, Michigan's." He goes, "Michigan." He goes, "We're getting your ass this year for sure. Count it." I said, "Really?"
For sure.
I said, "This year, look, you guys have a better outlook than years past." He's like, "I guarantee it." I said, $100, and he said, "I'll shake on it right now." So at no points, I said, "How many points do you want?" He's like, "Fuck you."
Straight up.
Nah. Straight up. I said, "Perfect, $100. Count it. It's gonna be 200 before leading up to the game."
Nice.
I got a call in my poker league that does the same thing. No points every year. Smart guy.
If you look around the room and can't spot the mark is you.
All right, folks. Lively show. Way to come back at it. We will hit you again in August when camp opens up. We'll come at you with a couple shows. We'll get into the schedule and maybe some recruiting.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of position battles to talk about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
receivers, linebackers.
Unfortunately,
You know,
the media doesn't get to see much of practice, so we really don't know who's getting first team reps and second team reps and all that horse shit. So it's really a guessing game till week 1 almost. But Herb will give us little nickels and dimes here and there. As always, don't forget, call the show, text the show, send in your questions. You can tweet them at us, whatever. Our number is 614-414-2274. Burn that into your brain.
Tweet some shit.
Oh, God.
Shawn is attacking robots. Tiffin has been overrun by robots.
No, I think they're attacking
Terminator,
him.
Judgment Day.
Droid.
Fucking-
Say droid.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting loopy. It's a Friday night. The bourbon's out.
Cling, cling, cling.
So anyways,
That's ice in the glass, boys.
yep. Subscribe
All right,
to
gentlemen,
us.
what is it?
Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget, we're now on Spotify, which a lot of you kids love. So hit us up, hit us out. Jeff, thank you for
No problem,
joining
brother.
us.
No problem.
Shawn, thank you for your Trek
This is
conversation.
my pleasure.
You can't get 2 words out.
It's Tiffin. Tiffin even eats the fucking soul service that you live in, let alone your will to enjoy your life. I tell you that it's the town. I think it's the town. It's like a black cloud.
I love it.
All right, boys. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. Go Bucks, and stay cool.
Yeah, you just you sit down at the bar, you order your meal, and then you just put your wedding ring down right next to your drink. The ladies know what's up.
I'm gonna, Oh fuck! I don't ever wear my wedding ring.
Me
but
neither.
I'm gonna try that tonight up at Clover Club.
You might catch something to come back with you in the Clover Club.
Yeah. I live live, Jeff. I live live.